Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Pagemaster with me, the Pagemaster. And today we're going to be talking about Highlander, the movie from 1986. The book is A Kind of Magic, The Making of Highlander by Jonathan Melville. If the name's familiar, you might remember that I already did a Pagemaster episode on his previous book, Seeking Perfection, about Tremors, specifically Season 2 of Tremors that was never to be. I have to say that A Kind of Magic, The Making of Highlander, or the original Highlander, is probably the most thorough making of book, the chronicle, whatever you want to call it, that we're going to get of this movie. It's got everything from interviews with Chris Lambert to Chris Lambert's body double that stood in for him in different stunt scenes or over the shoulder shots or what have you, producers, composers, everybody, the gamut. The one thing, if I was going to say, and Jonathan Melville addresses this in the very first few pages of the book, is he didn't want to cover the sequels, and I kind of just really wanted all the stuff about the sequels, but that's okay, because there is plenty more to glean in this book. There are three things that we're just going to cover briefly, three excerpts. Each one is not even really a page. The first one is the vision for the finale of what it should have been. The second is just a little bit more introspective thought on the Quickening, another view on what that was, and an alternative outfit for the Kurgan. This book is mostly text, as you can see, but in the center there is a section with some full-color photos, and there is a shot of the Kurgan, which I'll put up on the screen, in this really great, snake armor outfit thing, which was never used. And that's the kind of stuff that I love. So here's just a brief look at the finale as it was originally conceived compared to what we got in the theater. This new draft incorporated requests for the use of Silver Cup as the backdrop for the final fight, with the Kurgan properly introducing himself to Brenda, having kidnapped her and brought her to the building. The Kurgan says, "I am Kurgan, warrior eternal. I have carved my name in the flesh of Venetian princes, raped the daughters of Attila the Hun, and set blaze the 7 hills of Rome." On his arrival, MacLeod forces the Kurgan onto the roof for their sword fight, demolishing chimneys and air conditioning units as they go. Having shattered a water tower and fallen into the building below, the pair fight inside a vast kitchen, with MacLeod exhausting his enemy so that the Kurgan has no energy to raise his sword. MacLeod says, "For Heather, Ramirez, Castigar, and all the others I had known, and last, for the Highlander, MacLeod of the Clan MacLeod," he raises his samurai. MacLeod says there can be only one. MacLeod then cuts off the Kurgan's head. Centuries of pent-up energy released in a mind-bending explosion stretches out his arms, experiencing a thundering waterfall of light, red, purple, yellow, and blue clouds swirling all around him as he experiences what he calls the prize. His body transforms into different people: Ramirez, Facile, the Kurgan, and unknown figures as voices echo around him. The final scenes were now set back in Scotland, with the dialogue largely similar to that of earlier scripts. This draft also introduced a new opening sequence still set inside Madison Square Garden, but now featuring a wrestling match instead of a hockey game. The decision to change sports was the result of the National Hockey League denying the request, as they felt it would show hockey as a violent sport. We wouldn't want that at all. Now, for the Quickening at the end, the prize, there was a little gleaned here, which I thought was great in a memo. It says in Ferguson and Bellwood's 1985 memo, they have more to say about the prize, noting that each immortal has within him the combined quickening of all his fallen opponents, and their fallen opponents, and their fallen opponents, and so on, and MacLeod gets it all. He gets the prize. It doesn't come in manageable portions. It overwhelms him in one mind-bending blast, total telepathic awareness. Billions upon billions of thoughts, feelings, instincts, wishes, dreams, secret desires, all jumbled and tumbling, boiling over in one great roar. In the script, MacLeod states that he is the global brain. The night air is my breath. The life force smothers me. I can feel everything. Towards the end of the script, MacLeod and Brenda are traveling on an ocean liner, with the former explaining that he's now able to control the Quickening, turning it up and down and tuning into different stations. Says Larry Ferguson, "Peter and I had something we both loved and cared about, which was that MacLeod could hear everyone's thoughts on the planet, and that was really, really loud, and it was making him a little crazy, but he was carefully learning how he could turn the volume down." As scripted, MacLeod explains that there's a man and woman living in adjoining houses in Paris who are in love with each other, but who never speak. Elsewhere, a man in Honduras is planning a coup to overthrow the government. MacLeod suggests he and Brenda go to Paris to introduce the neighbors to each other. As the pair fall deeper in love, McLeod says to Brenda that just 1 year of love is better than a painful eternity alone, echoing her comment from earlier before Brenda produces a bottle of 1976 plum brandy, leaving McLeod to recite facts to her about the year's events, including One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest winning 5 Academy Awards and the discovery of a new atomic particle by U.S. scientists. Brenda then quotes from Dylan Thomas's Fern Hill before the pair state their love for each other, kiss, and the liner sails away. And so, regarding the Kurgan's final, they're calling it Medusa-type armor, this little excerpt here, I remember Nick Malley wanted to make some incredible designs for the Kurgan to be revealed as a Medusa-type monster, but the producers wouldn't go for it, recalls makeup effects mold designer John Schoenrad. I was at a party that night with Rick Baker, and I told him Nick had just had this main creature design turned down, and he said, happens to everybody. With the decision made not to proceed with a practical effect representing the Kurgan's spirit, Russell Mulcahy and the producers would have to find an alternative way to depict the massive burst of energy that would lead to the film's climactic ending, but this would have to wait until later in the year. That super awesome armor kind of reminds me of the Masters of the Universe, which came out around the same year as this, where Skeletor gets that full-on gold garb before the end of the movie. I actually kind of liked it, but maybe people would think it's gaudy or over the top. I don't know. But there you have it. We've got alternative armor for the Kurgan that was never realized, a little bit more insight into the prize and the Quickening, and a different vision for what the final fight would have been at the end of the movie. I'll see you guys all next time.